lot about the idea of Viper being a tournament hero, but because VP is first pick, they don't feel like they have to ban it this time. They can take it away. But I feel like when you're drafting against these types of teams, if you're taking away a team's specialty hero, they should also know how to deal with the specialty hero.
And they pick up the Winter Wyvern and the Magnus, and you were saying, Curtis, that Magnus might be a hero that VP would keep their eyes on.
I think for both teams, they've ran the Magnus pretty well. Also, like T1, I think, did this before, where they picked the Winter Wyvern with the Magnus. A lot of teams are picking up Winter Wyvern against Magnus, so you sort of preemptively dodged a counter pick there. It's also just pretty nice. We saw that clip from, was it Limp? They got like a two-man Winter Curse versus OG, and then Limp was able to skewer the third hero, and they got 3-man RP in the top river.
I guess the nice thing about Magnus Wyvern as a counter to the Doom is the fact that if you, let's say your single core that you're enabling is doomed, you have so many ways to disconnect the engagement, be it by Magnus sacrificing himself with the skewer, or the Wyvern just hitting that curse. There's a lot of nice kind of defensive mechanisms here against the Doom once again. VP, of course, just go for a casual line.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think VP are also on that read because they think if you're trying to disengage, we can just get some hard lockdown.
Yeah.
Line does that very well. If you finger, hex, stun the Doom target, they are going to die, even if you get cursed in RP to try to disengage.
And I will say, Save is one of the best Lions that I was able to watch during the European and Eastern European DPC. The amount of patience this individual has when he's playing the line. He'll wait in the tree line. He won't jump the first target or the second target. He'll always know exactly who he needs to jump, and that's when he hits these 2-3-man Earth Spikes. Just like, for example, Zephyr on T1, how amazing he is on the Nyx. I think this is basically the equivalent for Save and Virtus.pro.
Yeah, I think Virtus.pro as a team, they're very good at planning out how they want to take team fights. They have very communicative players in pubs. I'm sure it translates into in their pro games, they'll sort of plan out everything about how they want to approach it. I mean, the ideal at least before it gets messy.
And it's, the whole idea of understanding the team fight, T1 now respect that by banning the Spectre. It simplifies the engagement for VP because when you have heroes like Doom and Lion, you need to have a good understanding of the entire fight to connect that clean Doom, to connect that instant lockdown from Lion. So many times we've seen in ESL Summer so far where we have people running away from this Doom target, kind of just like fleeing, and yeah, I don't mind this ban at all. And then the Grim ban, just to respect the good old classic Grim Doom combination.
Yeah, that seems like something that T1 themselves would do. Has VP been running much Grimstroke?
No, not really, no. I believe during the major, it was a unpicked hero for themselves, and so far in ESL Summer, it as well has been an unpicked hero.
I mean, if you've executed this Grim Doom as well as T1 did last game, I think it's very easy to just respect that. Yeah. It's a pretty good combo with Lion as well. I'm surprised that VP banned out the Phoenix, but maybe they just wanted T1 to avoid the double bird strat. Just thematically, very scary. It
is very scary. Ice and fire, but of course, the ice can cover the fire so that the egg does explode.
When do we get the electric bird? When is Zapdos getting added to Dota 2?
When's the patch coming?
When is the patch coming?
How about that one?
Also a good question.
You think as soon as this grand final ends, they just drop it and it's like, ha, good luck in TI qualifiers, everybody.
It's Sunday right now.
Like 4 days to TI qualifiers, right?
I think it might be less.
3 days.
Yeah, maybe earlier.
And
I think SA starts pretty early.
Woo.
Let's see, what time is it in Seattle right now? I'll tell you what time it is. Oh, never mind, that wasn't a pick. It is currently 8 a.m. in Seattle.
Enchantress for T1. So I saw in this tournament that Doom was getting sort of picked against Enchantresses, sort of as a counter pick. But I think, and Doom used to be a counter pick to Magnus. It got a bit changed now because you still want a lot of physical damage versus Doom. But I think T1, they're like very confident in these heroes if they're picking them against Virtus.pro's lineup.
Yeah. Oh, Cuckoo, he's so happy. This, T1, they just bleed so much energy, and it is very infectious. But T1, with the Wyvern and the Enchantress, we've seen it be so potent, this combination, just because of the amount of healing that you have.
Whoa, no way. There's no way. There's
Whoa.
No way.
Okay.
There's no way. That has to be a misclick.
No, not at all. Why would that be a misclick, sir?
Because it was completely uncontested, not only throughout the Animator, but also Season 2 DPC.
All right. But this is it, Grand Finals, best of 5, game 1. This is kind of like the opening draft is a little bit kind of, not scripted, but you kind of understand like the give and take when two teams at this level, when they played so much. And now we get to see a bit of a left field silencer. Why is it good? Well, potentially, it could be like a cover to the Wyvern. It's a hero that's constantly enabling without the team fight. If you hit that big global, a position 5 or even 4 Wyvern can't really itemize quickly to deal with the global, right? You can't cold embrace. So I can see maybe why it could be good. They pair it with a TA for that explosive jump.
I mean, you're just describing why Silencer is a hero at all.
Yeah,
Curtis, why is Silencer not a good hero, though?
As T-Governor mentioned, though, it is specifically good versus Wyvern and Magnus.
Okay.
Yeah.
The hero also got one of its biggest buffs. Now Curse continues to do damage during the duration of silences while not losing any silence duration. So if you curse someone in global, that's like 11 seconds of debuff. If you get down to Magnus, he cannot blink for 14 seconds effectively.
And I can respect the idea behind it. It literally is the logic of they have 3 jumps now. You know, Doom buys blink, Lion buys blink, TA will eventually go for a blink. They will all go onto the single target. If you layer that with a global and kill that hero, that should unlock the fight. If they mess up, then their draft will be very deconstructed. It'll be hard to play.
I wouldn't want to play Silencer into Enchantress, though. I think
Yeah.
the lane's going to be very hard. I think there's a high chance that VP get overrun on the map this
And
game.
that's why T1 go for the PA, right? They go for an easier hero that simply buys BKB, has Deso, will be able to execute Silencer online. They don't really itemize that well to deal with PA early on because they want to buy other items. So I like the fact that T1 just go for a mag PA. They see through kind of the quirkiness of VP and it's like, cool, you're trying to be the creative ones. We're just going to pick solid heroes that can skirmish, can fight, and can punish the cooldowns that Global is trying to unlock in VP's lineup.
I would like to see VP put the Silencer against the PA in lane. If you get cursed on her, she can't use her like low cooldown spells at all. And then hopefully they can buy a bunch of sentries on Lion to contest. I'm assuming it is Zephyr's Enchantress.
It's a good thing you bring that up because we saw in the Weatherman segments how T1 was able to dismantle Enchantress on Virtus.pro. But when VP played into Ench, they didn't put the same amount of effort into shutting this hero down. Was that a Kunkka?
Yeah, it was a Kunkka. Oh man, this is a fun draft out
So
of
it's
VP.
a mid-Doom off-lane Kunkka, but potentially they could flex it up.
Wait, where's TA? Safe lane TA?
Oh no, of course. Oh, wait, sorry, I'm being silly. Yeah, it's going to be the safe lane Doom and the off-lane Kunkka mid-TA.
Well, I mean, we've seen safe lane TA in South America.
VP has run this
Safe
kind
lane
of
Doom?
double off-lane style with a TA before.
Okay.
In this tournament specifically. So I would gravitate more towards that.
Yeah, at the major, they ran it with like a Mars safe lane, right?
Yeah, no,
that one didn't work
exactly.
as well, but I think this one is more like Dota Theory sound.
Yeah.
I think most likely, unless there's a matchup that you specifically want TA safe lane against, you are going to put that hero mid.
Yeah.
Usually, teams specifically put it safe lane against Centaur and Brood,
Yeah.
but since Centaur sort of fell off a bit and Brood is, I mean, he's sort of been ignored this tournament, to be honest.
Banned out pretty regularly, but
Not in like these last games, I
yeah.
think.
And you can see from the fact that we are getting to the final pick in Timbersaw, for example, for T1, this was a second phase ban. A hero that VP haven't lost with so far and it kind of carried them to this position. So yeah, really refreshing takes now. A minute 30 left for T1 to decide what they need. Most likely will be a mid laner to at least try and mitigate this kind of big win condition that TA is. Like if TA has no game, it's a lot of enablers, a lot of kind of run at you, but not that kind of decisive way to like unlock Roshan. So I think maybe shutting down the TA in laning phase will be a good way for T1 to bridge the gap of the time needed for Mag and Pierre to get into the game.
Razor, Batrider are both banned.
Viper, of
Viper's
course, is banned, yeah.
I think they might just end up putting the Magnus mid. It's not that bad a matchup for Magnus. You can
That's
get some
true.
pretty good skewer, shockwave into skewers.
Carl played
they
a handful
could-
of Sand King, if you think that's any good.
They could find a hero that's good versus TA mid, like Sand King, as Tsunami is mentioning. That could work. I don't think Sand King's good versus TA mid, though.
Okay.
It's like you both sort of just farm, and it can work, but I think TA just farms too much in that matchup.
The reason I'm thinking about it is I want heroes that are kind of eager to build dispels, because that's one of the reasons why I think Silencer fell off, because Flicker exists, Stormcrafter exists, Greaves, Lotus Orb, Yules, these are all items that are very regularly built and take off the global. And so
Yeah.
if you can get that from your mid laner, that would be great.
That's a good point. Silencer is the type of hero that, as the game goes on longer, globally becomes less and less valuable. You want to like take over the map early with that hero, because eventually their support, like the Winter Wyvern, will have a Lotus Orb or Greaves or whatever to take off global, and then you have
Okay,
a lot less value.
They just go for the Veno. All right, that's fair.
That's
that
just
works.
rude against the Templar Assassin.
Especially with the Enchantress. The Enchantress against 2 range support, she should be able to take over the map. Combined with the Veno, I think you should be able to snowball off the TA matchup pretty well.
Well, these are exciting drafts, gentlemen.
Yeah, this is refreshing. Coming to a grand final, we're going to see a Silencer pick. We now got the Veno into TA that has often been banned, so we've not really been able to see the true effect that Veno has against TA, and this will be a big eye-opener to, if this game goes well for either team, it kind of puts a lot of pressure going into game 2, how they approach the draft, because this is a lot of execution and kind of thought has gone into this one. So yeah, it's an exciting game.
Which one are you favoring so far?
I think I prefer the simplicity of T1, where like the mag, the PA, and there's the Veno for laning phase, but I guess I'm a little bit scared about how impactful Veno is. Can TA just go jungle? And will they even be able to offset the timing of Kunkka plus Doom and TA all just running around this map? So I'm a little bit worried for T1, but I have the confidence that they always have this ability to kind of come back in these slightly harder games.
Well, it's a hard game to get into grand finals, and you think it's just the teams that are competing? No, my friends. The casters are also competing for the privilege of taking this grand final commentary. Gentlemen, please enter the arena.
They're off.
Please enter the arena.
They're doing it on
Please
the wrong
enter
side.
the arena.
Please enter the
Please
arena.
enter the arena.
There we go. We have two of the
into
finest
arena.
analysts.
We have
Yep.
two contenders. It is a Jenkins Dota and Lacoste Dota. Please now, this is not the arena. Please go into the arena. Get in the arena.
There we go.
3, 2, 1, fight!
All right. So, strong lead from Jenkins. He's been a bit more enthusiastic. Lacoste really isn't trying.
Lacoste is dead.
Wait,
Lacoste,
what?
he just
Wait,
died.
Wait, what?
He's dead.
That was it?
Go cast, Jenkins.
All
Go
right,
cast
Jenkins
Dota
wins.
2.
Congratulations.
Woo! Jenkins and Suns fan for game number 1.
I'm not gonna. That was a good effort, gentlemen. I think we're missing the death animation there. Not sure if that's a bug. Maybe still in beta.
That was not how that was planned.
Yeah, you didn't even realize that was the fighting arena.
No.
Well done,
I
Jenkins.
wasn't told. I'm never told.
All right, well, Suns fan here with Jenkins for this game 1 of a best of 5 between T1 and VP. Both teams have looked very good. This, of course, is a rematch, as VP did win the previous series in the upper bracket finals 2-1, but all 3 games, for the most part, could have gone either way. These teams are definitely evenly matched.
You are correct, Sun Man. It seems like both of these teams have excellent late game decision making. They can change up what they're doing as the game is going. They're really good at figuring things out. They're not just one-trick ponies that do one style. As you can see, T1, look at this draft. This looks like an alliance draft to me. Magnus, Wyvern opener.
Yeah.
It's
PA
either
with the Empower.
yeah, it's either respect or disrespect. Maybe a
Well,
bit of both.
We'll find out in the post-game interview if they do end up winning here, as looks like T1 are able to get 3 out of 4, if I'm not mistaken here, as they're going to pick up that last one. So not too bad start for T1.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, let's talk about these lineups, because obviously the Doom, TA, Kunkka we saw from DM. He played a literally the best Kunkka game I've ever seen for that kind of a build. And we see a support silencer. Talk to me about this hero, Jenkins.
It makes sense against the Magnus plus the Winter Wyvern opening. You have 2 heroes who are heavily reliant on bursting people with those 2 ultimates. And Silencer is just about the biggest buzzkill hero in the game for that. But I agree with what the panel was saying, that maybe a bit of what has made this hero fall off is the amount of good dispels for the global silence.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, even neutral items are giving dispels these
Yeah.
days, so that is definitely. I mean, yeah, I never really thought about that, but I mean, this hero isn't picked. Do you think that's the main reason towards it?
Maybe not the main reason. Another problem is the laning is a little bit weak, but you know, when you're playing with a Magnus on the enemy team and a Doom in the safe lane, then the lane's always going to be a little bit weird, so it does feel like a decent game for it.
Mm-hmm. And then on T1 side, as we have a pause here, we talked about the Magnus. We've seen that before many a time, and Empower PA. So, I mean, PA, when she was a little bit more popular, Battle Fury was the build. And the Battle Fury has just kind of been essentially deleted, it feels like, from most heroes in the game. The Empower kind of replaces that. So, in theory, that's why I'm guessing.
Figure out what exactly they can do with PA to make it work. And Echo Saber was a pickup. I've seen a couple of Diffusal Blades. But with the Magnus, you can just go for the regular build minus the Battle Fury. He's rushing into a Deso and find a Carl.
Has to pop the Fairy Fire. The Side Blades didn't connect that time around. And this is another lane we have yet to talk about that's very interesting. It's GPK on the TA, of course, which isn't uncommon at all. But versus Venomancer, who can just take off that refraction super fast. You see some action here. Torrent's going to miss. Whitemon sidestepping it, but there's the Blink Strike. DM with the right clicks to follow. Save. Looks like he's going to be first-blooded, so T1 gets the better of this exchange.
He's kind of the only person that can die in this lane very consistently. And with the level 2 on Kunkka, there's no X marks a spot, so he's just trying to set up the Torrent with pure skill, and against a PA, that's not easy. Even Enchantress has decent move speed, 320 at level 1. That's quite high. Another mass disconnect from T1.
Yep, they got some lag issues. I believe they are probably still in the hotel in Kiev,
Yep.
is my guess.
Yeah, there were a couple of internet outages. I was getting them less than anybody else was, though. It was,
Yeah, the Wi-Fi was, I mean, it was just the first couple days were not great, but then after that,
They figured it out.
Taper off. But talk to me about the Venomancer. I mean, again, I brought up the refraction, but what else is there to this hero that makes it good?
Veno can take over TA's jungle. That's something. You've got the Plague Wards, and that's some of the best area control in the game, if not the best area control in the entire game. And so you can go into the TA's jungle, take up the Ancients, but you do need a supporting cast behind you. Veno can't do that alone. So these other side lanes need to go quite well for this to happen.
We see Kingslayer just harassing the absolute crap out of Cuckoo, and Glaives of Wisdom are super annoying. The fact that you can steal some int without having to get a kill these days is temporary. Gives a little bit of a quality of life change for Silencer over the years.
And Kingslayer is holding his point, so he doesn't know whether he wants to go for the Arcane Curse or the Last Word, possibly depending on if he needs to save somebody with the Last Word, get that silence out, or go for a kill with the Arcane Curse.
Am I the only one that wishes this hero was viable enough to be carry again? I like the idea of I like the idea of ranged carries that are int, so like Lina types.
Okay, I'm with you there, but don't you hate mana burn as a concept? Isn't that one of your shticks?
No, it's just mana drain from Lion specifically.
I see. You just hate Lion. I mean, that's
I mean,
fair.
look at
That's
Lion's
fair.
face. He is the literal ugliest hero in the entire freaking game. He's
also-
so ugly, they've had to make so many different cosmetics of different color just to hide how ugly he has become.
And to be frank, they're quite horrible.
Yes, indeed. As you can see the skewer onto Kingslayer, slowed up with that Arctic Burn as well. Cuckoo continuing the chase, but in the trees, Kingslayer. Yep, Shockwave is there to finish him off, and Nightfall not there in time, although
Nice little
really
punish.
be able to do much anyway.
T1 recognized Nightfall was walking away to go get a creep, picks up the Toughness Aura. Lots of armor from this Doom now because of that 5 armor that he now has to work with at level 1.
Yep.
Very nice buff to the Doom.
Incredible that when that happened, he just picked all the time after not being picked for so long. But when you play position 1, as we're going to see, oh my, the Earth Spike was there just to cancel the Tornado. Save is taking heavy damage, though, as the Chicken is actually going to fall before being able to kill off the Leon.
Bit of a bait. He did have the salve, so he could have survived one more hit there. Good discipline from Whitemon not going in.
Yeah, so continue. I mean, I'm really curious to see if DM goes for the same build he did in the series that we cast, because that was absolutely epic. That was... He went shard like right away, right?
Yeah.
I remember what the actual build-up was. He's going for Urn
Pipe,
this time around.
pipe Shard, I think, is what he went for.
Yeah.
But he has the Urn this time, so really valuing that extra bit of damage. Mana
for sure.
regen stats.
Kingslayer. I mean, look at this damage to Zephyr. Zephyr really can't do anything about it. Nice miss there, though. Definitely planned that one.
Laning against the Silencer in terms of harass is a big pain. The problem with Silencer is the fact that he's so squishy, he can feed. But in a situation like that, where you're 1v1 trading with the support, it feels really good to be Silencer.
And back to the position 1 Doom. Is there, I mean, do you build any differently on this hero? Or is it the same kind of
I
build?
don't
You just
think
get
so.
it faster?
No, I think the concept of this Doom late game taking 2 heroes out of a
my.
fight.
All right. Oh, the X is just a little bit too slow, as it's actually 23 Savage not even getting the kill, but also getting X back into range of these creeps a little bit faster.
Is this the first time we've seen DM Kunkka lose a lane? I think it is.
31-5 for 23 Savage and 26-2 for DM. I mean, he's not doing terribly.
He's not getting dumpstered, but usually VP plays off of a completely snowballing offlane Kunkka.
That's true. Yep, that's the first time in memory at least, but it is against T1, of course, so their laning is nothing to scoff at for sure.
Yeah, they did get dumpstered by the Kunkka, so they looks like they have a
Phantom
decent
Strike
edge.
is there with the Enchanta slow. Torrent will connect, but DM is in quite a bit of trouble here. No reinforcements on the way. This is going to be yet another kill, this time to 23 Savage on the very important DM that we've been praising thus far. Save. Looks like he might get the Courier. Indeed. Earthspike only going to connect on a creep, though. But he looks to be just trying to dance his way out of here. That disgusting face of his. Not save, the Lion specifically.
Whitemon has enchant up soon. Nice double stun.
Yeah, he is more than fine, and the slow comes out into Zephyr as well as GPK, able to secure himself an illusion rune. So at what point does the Venom start bothering the TA? Because so far, he's doing just fine.
It does look like he's doing just fine. The traps are a problem. The Sentry Ward coming out from Carl is definitely something that is much needed. GPK is doing a really good job at keeping his distance, so Carl's not able to gale him, but you have to be careful, because this isn't one of those lanes that TA wins, or that Vena wins by just farming. You kill the TA. And so it's all about getting a gale when the TA walks up a little too far.
Nightfall gonna get that Scorched Earth off. Have the Doom available as well. Can they actually chase him down, though, is the question. He's going to go into the trees. We have some TPs coming in, trying to juke around. We see the Gale into the Poison Nova. Nightfall is just going to TP out, and the deny is there from Carl. So, in essence, nobody really dies.
Favoring VP slightly because they force out the mid laner rotation. Maybe favoring them heavily if they get a decent chunk of damage on this mid tower. This is very important.
Does have that Blightstone to help him out.
We've seen a lot of TAs do that throughout the major, where the enemy mid laner leaves and then they just dumpster the tower.
Yeah, Safe getting caught out here. The Gale has nowhere to go, but GPK trying to get the return kill at the very least, but he gets skewered back into the tier 2 RP as well. Still has that refraction up, but finally tries to attempt the TP out and will be successful. Actually to the tier 1 mid, as he has a full bottle to work with. Oh, and a trusty shovel. How nice.
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Nice TP in from Cuckoo, of course, with that bot lane death.
Oh! Oh my!
Oh, okay.
That is definitely the rune to get.
Not so bad.
I mean, that Kobold is the end of me, personally.
That thing's the worst. Walking around with tranquil boots, it spawns, punches you. It's like, I'm only killing you out of spite.
Yeah.
You're not even worth the gold.
This is true.
Killing you. People just leave it. They don't bother.
Yeah, GPK at half HP, so he does have to be a bit careful here as the tomatoes are going to be harassing him a bit as we're seeing
here we go.
Impact move of the shovel. Yes!
Oh, that was such
Look
a
at this
sick
efficiency. Oh, he bottled a little bit too quick there,
yeah,
to be
that's
fair.
a bit.
Not fully efficient there on GPK, but that's okay.
A little bit of nerves getting to GPK here, it looks like.
Yeah, definitely the nerves. I believe the tomato was running at him, so
That's
it is
gotta
quite
be
a
something.
scary sight,
Yeah,
for sure.
You don't expect to see that.
All right, but T1, I mean, this is against a Doombringer, so the fact that they're only up, I mean, they're up technically is a good sign for them to start this game out.
Goes both ways, though. We have Magnus plus PA on one side, and then on the other side we have a Doom. So both lineups are kind of supposed to out-farm the other, and it cancels out.
All right, fair enough, fair enough. 23 Savage is just going for straight Desolator after he picked up those treads, so that's pretty cool to see. And as we see a Hex in the bot lane, the 3-man gank from VP will be successful onto Zephyr. So in this instance where you're given essentially this farm from the Empower onto the PA, Deso, BKB, and then do you fight? Because typically in the old days, as in 2 months ago, it would be Battle Fury, Deso, BKB, then you fight.
I think with just the Deso you can probably fight.
Okay.
Because you have these other heroes to set up for you and protect you. It's very difficult to fight into a Winter Wyvern Curse and a Magnus RP. At the very least, you can use these to protect your carry. Just literal AoE stuns. Worst case, you use them and the carry jumps away.
Right. All right, well, Nightfall picked up his Midas. He is top net worth and doing very well. He already used his Doom, which, you know, it's one of those things where sometimes you're sitting on this spell for a really long time, but has gotten pretty good use out of it thus far. Night Slayer still only level 4, so no global signs to come, although I'm not sure who took the Tome on their team. Might have been Whitemon, or maybe they're still delivering it, not sure. Either way, what kind of impact is the global silence going to have this game? Because do you have to itemize to try to get like a Lotus Orb or a Greaves or something like that to be able to work around it?
Not necessarily. I think one problem with picking Silencer into Magnus is that, yes, Magnus is based pretty hugely on winning team fights with RP. That is a factor. But also, you hit creeps, you farm stacks. Veno's the same thing. You can control areas of the map with the wards and get farm that other heroes couldn't get. So T1 is perfectly fine with farming and just ignoring the global by virtue of not fighting. You just if the global never gets used, it's not a problem.
Yeah, and you can see Carl going for the Invoker build. Brown Boots, Spirit Vessel, and now Midas is next. So we are seeing like a huge resurgence, I feel like, in Hand of Midas in the last 3 weeks, I want to say, that it was just not built on basically any hero. Maybe Doom and Invoker are the only two, but now we're just seeing it almost every game from these teams.
I really wanted to ask in the interview T1 about their Midas, like when they think Midas is good, because like you said, you don't see it. It's only like late into the major that we started seeing it. But unfortunately, or fortunately, Whitemon was the interviewee, so he's a support player. I'm sure he's just like, God damn my cores, why are they buying Midases every game? I didn't want to, spark any.
I forget, was
past
it
trauma.
T1 or VP that had 2 Midases, and we were talking about how they had to just kind of delay because they were against kind of a push lineup, and then they ended up just winning with the Midases shortly after.
Yeah, that was VP.
That, I literally don't even understand the concept here. You're going to see the Earth Spike into the boat, and the death again for Mr. Zephyr himself. So 1K net worth lead here for VP, as obviously Doom is carrying the load here.
Here's my theory on the Midas, and keep in mind, I'm an idiot.
Okay, yep, we need that.
So it's hard to push towers because of TPs. They're huge now, right? You can TP in a long distance in any of these trees. You cannot just Quelling Blade trees down and prevent TP locations now. So that's one thing. Pushing is hard. And then number 2, there's all of these little tree paths to hide in now. So juking around the map and delaying the game is much easier than it was before. Before, if you split push, you would die. And these days, if you think that your team is good at hiding and being annoying, and T1, these are the guys building Midas, this is exactly what we see their supports doing every game, just sitting in trees, feeding or TPing out at low HP. And so I think that lends itself to playing this kind of delayed, there's a timer on you because we have Midas' style, because you think you can delay the game for long enough that the Midas has come into play. That's at least my theory on it.
So what you're saying is Hand of Midas recipe will be increased by another 100 gold.
Possibly. I don't think this sort of thing would work in pubs, though. I think you need a full lineup that is committed to...
By the way, after all this talk, he's changed his mind. I think he might be listening in. He's like, you know what? I'm sick and tired of them talking about Hand of Midas. Let's just go for a Yule set.
It's more like if Sunsfan and Jenkins are saying that this is good, it's got to be complete garbage.
I never said it was good. I'm just interested that people are buying.
You're pretending to be interested in what I was
saying. No, Hand of Midas is an interesting item. I'm not making that up. As Nightfall has his Blink Dagger now, and you can see that VP is smoking on a couple member here. Carl will be a very big kill if they want to go for him. They can see the courier is on its way. Nightfall jumps in. Carl, there's Doom coming on, but it's going to cost him the Poison Nova. The Finger is there to finish him off as well, as Nightfall is going to get RP'd in turn. Cuckoo finds that kill himself, so it's a 1-for-1 with Save being the second now in favor of T1. It's a really good turnaround with these TPs.
I'm realizing that this was a really great Veno pick for more reasons than just the fact that it counters TA. Of course, you also have the Kunkka, which the Veno counters because the boat wears off eventually, and then all of the Veno dots will kill the target. But also, if you Doom Veno and he gets all of his abilities off, the Doom was wasted. So it seems really good to just put the Veno in front and have him be the Doom target.
And Global Silence was used in that fight, which I have to back and see if that was actually a little bit too early or not. But I mean, T1 ends up on top in terms of the trades there overall. But still, very even game as expected between these two juggernaut teams. I mean, if I was picking, I know this is a little biased because we just watched the animation or whatnot, but top 4 teams in the world, these two would be in them. And VP is the only one that's like the question mark just because of the LAN performances.
Yeah, I agree.
But when you see them play online, it's just night and day from what we saw at the major itself.
There seems to be a correlation between teams that have a lot of fun, that are high rank, and winning. People that have fun are good.
That's not always true. I mean, EG at TI5, that was a miserable group.
That's true. I can confirm that.
I think everybody can confirm that. That's pretty obvious from afar. As Zephyr still in the trees here, Save trying to wrap around. Yep, there we go. The Hex. Earth Spike to follow with the Urn. And the Shark is coming. This will be an eventual kill onto Zephyr again, which, again, he's been kind of doing this thing on the Winter Wyvern, just trying to create space. You talked about the idea of just hanging around in the trees, delaying the push, and
classic Zephyr.
That's what he's doing.
He expects this sort of thing at that point, and I think T1 does as well. But it's something you have to do if you're VP. You can't let a support sit there and counter push and delay. They're basically putting the the onus on you to dive them to get that tower. So VP, they do it.
As DM looks to be... I thought he was finishing the Spirit Vessel. Maybe it's on the way right now, but either way, he's going for the pipe next. Maybe the Spirit Vessel's...
Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Yeah, figured that much.
Casual Hood against the Veno. This does make sense.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that just the healing over time, as well as the magic resistance, is enough often to survive through all of the Veno spells.
Yeah, I just hope to God that he goes again for that shard, because that's going to be very, very entertaining. As GPK does so much damage right here. See the X marks into the Torrent. That's going to be a freebie onto Whitemon, as we have mass disconnections in the middle of the fight.
Oh, that's not good timing.
Not good timing at all.
Then again, I suppose they're global, so it's not like they could have pressed spells.
This is true.
But Veno does have a Yules.
Yeah, we can see that the Doom is applied right now to Cuckoo on the Magnus. So he's probably going to die here as well. And the Global Silence, it's almost done though, so we'll see if Venomancer can do anything. I mean, they do have the Yules, so that takes off the Global. Although at this point, it's no point in using it probably. And yeah, this is going to be a freebie with the Finger of Death charge. Double kill for DM, and we'll see if they can turn this into a Roche potentially. Deso now onto GPK. And with this 5v3 situation, I mean, this is the beauty of having a Venomancer. You can always put these wards to at least get some vision in the pit. X marks onto Carl, though. Of course, VP know they have the numbers advantage right here. Nice Yules dodging a little bit there, but the boat is coming. Will connect. The follow-up. Yep. Nightfall jumps in, takes the Poison Nova, basically just to him. He's going to try to TP out, but there's the Curse to cancel it. And another pause. Okay.
That's just a BM pause on Nightfall. He fed in a pub the other night.
It seems to be a very common trend this game to have a double pause. The Discord is always the second one, right?
Of course. GPK was side-blading off of Plague Wards to get that kill. That was one of those very strange long-range poke kills on the Venomancer, where if they commit to that, maybe they just die to the Wyvern Curse. And so they had to do that from long range with like 3 different random abilities. X, of course, probably the easiest thing to hit from long range.
I think they're ready to go, and Nightfall's in a lot of trouble here. He's getting beat on by his friend. And of course, that Poison Nova is still applied. Oh, he's going to tick out. I guess that was the Poison Sting on top of it. As Zephyr now getting chased. Look at the damage. Trying to get the side blades, but not going to be in range here. And T1 still delaying pretty successfully. And now with Nightfall down, see if VP actually want to continue on here. X marks onto Whitemon, but yeah, no follow-up here. So T1 successfully defend Roche. Did cost them a couple lives, but they'll take it.
The Spirit Vessel on DM is a real problem for T1 right now. They can't just run a hero in and save them with the Winter Wyvern, which is what most people have been doing to start their fights. They can't even run Whitemon in on Enchantress. You can see how little the healing did there. And if any other damage sources come out, I think Whitemon just dies. He's so squishy at this point, other than the heal.
Save has a blink, by the way. 18-minute blink on Lion. That seems pretty fast.
Yeah, that's very fast.
Going for the Ghost Scepter next. So they're going to have that blink Hex. I mean, they have pretty good initiation overall, and obviously really good catch. And that's on top of the Global Silence potential, which I mean, we've seen a couple times, but maybe hasn't had the biggest impact yet. But still pretty early on.
The Global?
Yeah.
It's hard to see the impact of it.
That's what I'm saying. It's difficult to see.
Because nothing happens, like literally.
There's no sound either. You know?
That's true. You can't hear the impact of it.
Yeah, as we can see, the typical build here from Zephyr has that Holy Locket. We'll be getting the Cold Embrace heal at level 10 in all likelihood. Getting some nice extra gold from this Philosopher's Stone as well.
23
here that continues not to get banned. That Tier 1 tower is just going to be given up here, it looks like. Torrent's going to connect, but no follow-up. And T1. Oh, the RP going to catch DM. Skewers into the other side here. It's going to get Galed on top of that, and it looks like VP just want to let him go. The boat comes out, but not a whole lot of damage done here. So T1, get the free pickoff. Well, free. Nothing's free in life, Jenkins. I don't know if anybody ever told you that, but
I've never heard that before.
It costs the Magnus ult.
Yeah.
There's always a cost.
There's always Lacoste?
That's right.
He is at every event, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
warranted, though.
Somebody was mentioning on the panel that Magnus is a counter to these disengage spell, or these kind of big team fight ultis and these disengage spells, because you skewer people so far away that nothing can be pressed on the person that gets gone on. And it's cool, we see it there. The RP into skewer out. It's like even if VP was in position, they can't save the skewer target. It's too far away. Their formation is broken immediately by that. These repositioning abilities have been so strong for this reason in the past, and this is exactly why Pudge is really strong right now.
Wow, I was wondering where you were going for that, so I appreciate that very much.
I'm just kidding. Please, Ice Frog, buff my boy.
He's never going to get buffed again, I don't think. But no, that's very true. I mean, the one thing is if there was global silence, you can't do that, right? Once the RP is off, you're just going to get global silence and you can't skewer anymore. But of course, they are itemizing to a degree. He's building a Yules right now, which obviously not the most common item to find on the Magnus. But the Dispel is going to be ultra important here.
Carl's going for Greaves as well, so we're going to have 2 types of Dispel on him. And the Greaves feels a lot better because you don't have to sit for 2.5 seconds doing nothing, which effectively is a disable whenever he globals. And, you know, that's exactly what you want. You use that to disable people. But going for the Yules first just because it's cheaper and guaranteeing that there's going to be something to take that off, and then doubling back for the Greaves.
That's definitely a good choice. But still kind of a farm game right now. Not a ton of action. The first Roche was semi-attempted at first, and then it kind of got broken up with a couple kills on each respective side. I mean, who does this current pace of the game benefit the most, you think? Because there's Doom on one side, and then there's PA with the Empower on the other.
T1, I think that he's probably going to, on 23 Savage, eventually get a Rapier, and with that timing, there is going to be very little that VP can do other than...
Got a 4-man smoke, a 3-man smoke here from VP. They want to defend this Roshan. DM's getting caught out for now. Spirit Vessel's applied to him. Has the X. Oh, the instant Hex on a Cuckoo. Very nicely done as Whitemon's taking a ton of damage from afar. GPK doing work. Nightfall jumps in. You can see the Global Silence into the Doom, onto the Magnus. And that is going to be the first kill in this fight for VP. A big, big one. He does have buyback, though, so if they overextend, he can definitely get back into this fight.
And that trap is just out of range of this Sentry Ward. So T1 doesn't realize, but VP, they know the exact status of Roshan as that's happening. There's no way they can get away with that, which is exactly why VP is smoking.
Yeah, they have smoke. Of course, Global Silence and Doom are down, but they know that Magnus is dead for another 15 seconds, so perhaps they can get a pick off before he respawns.
Zephyr would be a really important kill.
Oh, Zephyr, yep. The instant Hex into the Disable. The double stun. He actually jumps into it with a PA. 23 Savage pops the BKB, though, and blows up Save with the coup de grace. Now he's just getting pounded in by TA. Jumped on the other side. We see a Winter's Curse delaying the fight, so 23 Savage can actually get some damage here. Poison Nova from Carl onto DM, who's now in the trees here, completely surrounded by the PA, getting pounded. A nice cold embrace, but there's the skewer into the double RP from Cuckoo. Shockwave to follow. Double kill on 23 Savage as T1 are masterful in these fights. 23 Savage might finally tick down, but it cost them the entirety of VP. And Roche is still at half HP, and despite not having the PA, see if they can finish it off themselves or have to wait for him in the end.
Bit of a false sense of security there from VP, having that information in the pit, knowing that they can do a smoke wraparound there, picking off Zephyr, but he has buyback, and then they're fighting right into that T1 ward, which lets 23 kind of juke around this fight, even at low HP. They could never get him.
That was a nice impale.
It was. It was a really great start, but the insta-burst, as well as the BKB, there's nothing that goes through this, and TA does not have any evasion piercing right now, so...
Yeah, 23 Savage did such a good job of kind of going in and out and just being an annoying presence.
I like that he jumped to Carl as well, using Carl as kind of a backbone for this fight, where it's like, you know what?
Boom!
You're going to kill me, you're going to take all of Venomancer's spells as well. And then all of this just sets up, because they're so desperate to kill 23 for the beautiful 2-man RP from Cuckoo.
As you can see, T1... Oh, for once, they're not
jovial. They're
very serious, yeah.
That makes me a little worried for them.
They're taking this very seriously. This is the grand finals, after all. All right, so they didn't wait, or they did wait for the PA. I guess they just have no damage, really, from Roche's perspective, despite it being at half HP. So now they're going to be in there.
Bro, this trap is still a real problem. It's right outside of 2 Sentry Wards.
Yeah. All right, well, the Torrent's going to connect on the Centaur, as this is a very slow Roche without 23 Savage there, which, again, like you said, the information's already there for VP. For the status.
They don't need to rush anything because of the trap. This is so inconvenient. I don't think I've it's really cool positioning from the trap. I mean, usually the sentry ward's a little bit closer to the pit, but because supports obviously don't want to get caught out of position, they just kind of put it as close as they can get safe.
Oh my goodness. All right, we have an Aghanim Scepter on 23 Savage, by the way.
Yeah, the usual build
That's
for...
awesome.
The
You
usual
can
build
take
for
off
this?
silence.
Oh, wait, take off silence.
Yes. Well, we have Skewer back in, but the global silence to follow. 23 Savage jumps in. GPK is BKB'd though, so not a lot of damage done in the end. We see the tidal wave coming out as well. Our Spike's going to connect only onto one, and now the 4-stepping GPK healthy. Shockwave is there as well. Nightfall actually pops his BKB here. No death somehow.
And no
Might
spells
break
on
the
either
fight up here. The Torrent will connect. I mean, it's a basic dispel, but I guess you can't cast it for global silence.
because it is a spell.
You have to get Satanic for that, I guess, yeah. But that is such a cool act. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but I feel like this is a very important rush that both teams have spent so many resources trying to defend. And of course, T1 going back and forth. They still have not gotten this trap.
If only they knew that trap was there. VP would be so much more worried about Roshan because they wouldn't know the status of it. They
Right.
have to go fight. But they know that if Roche is standing on that trap, the T1's not taking it.
Tidal Wave. 23 Savage with a double damage now. That is pretty big.
Pretty dank with the Aghanim Scepter, too.
Absolutely.
Insta-burst
There's
somebody, get
no
all of
global
your spells.
silence for a bit here. So T1 should feel relatively safe. Another 45 seconds for that to come up. Tidal Wave again coming. This is such an annoying spell. Of course, Boat has such a low cooldown. I can spend that basically any point. Or we're going to see the Centaur stun start things out. And there's the BKB jumping from 23 Savage. The death of Kingslayer buys back into the game, though. And now the Boat coming in. Look at these side blades from GPK off of the Plague Wards. Like you said earlier, they might be able to steal this. GPK now in the pit. Whitemon trying to get in there as well. Cuckoo misses the skewer, though. Roshan is snatched.
Oh,
GPK
the tidal
takes
wave.
it for himself. 23 Savage now trying to get out. Gets Doom, but it's the Lotus Orb Doom. So that has two targets that can't do anything now. All right, Cold Embrace applied to 23 Savages now. The Curse applied as well as TA is just beating the crap. That's going to be a dieback onto Kingslayer. Now the chase is onto 23 Savage, but the Doom has finally run out. And now he's going to jump in and absolutely blow up everybody. GPK does get out the refraction. Finally, the Aegis is popped. Nightfall in the triangle. Looks like it's going to be 5, but GPK is completely surrounded. Double kill for 23 Savage. So VP, they get the Aegis. T1 gets the Roche, technically, and it was only Roche number 1.
I love watching these two teams team fight.
It's crazy.
There's so much going on between the tidal waves, GPK hitting the Plague Wards, getting the pure damage, the Lotus Orb, the backline protection coming from T1. 23 Savage constantly playing on low HP. Can he actually get up again? He's constantly playing on low HP. He's doomed, but he's playing around his team. The Greaves are keeping him alive. Like, T1 is playing so together and around the high
Look at these
ground.
side blades, dude. Oh my god. That must have been like
look
max
how low
range
23
there.
is. And he still did so much in this fight.
Yeah. Well, you get fully healed.
That does help a lot. Yes, that does help. Look at the tidal wave onto the high ground.
Yeah, actually pushed
heroes.
23 Savage out of the pit.
It separates him, but then the Lotus Orb Doom,
Yeah.
Cuckoo's in position, and then everybody's playing on the high ground on T1. They know if they just frontline with these two tanky heroes.
This Golden Face is so stupid. He's literally unkillable. Finger of Death, they put 2 different ults on him here. Yeah, I don't know, man. This spell's pretty busted right now. But either way, like, the execution from both sides is so crisp. Really a joy to watch both of these teams
It's
play.
got to be so frustrating for either side to lose a team fight. 'Cause it's like, good lord, what else could we have pressed? And I look at this as a Dota player and I think, I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay, well,
Kingslayer's dead.
23
Almost.
Savage, yeah, he's finding Kingslayer outside the Roche pit. You can see Saves in there as well, blinks out the safety after the Earth Spike comes out, but Kingslayer looks to be mega dead here. Okay, so let's talk about this Aghanim Scepter. Well, first, Doom got an Ags himself. This is a really early one, so this will apply the break, which is huge against PA,
they need
obviously.
that.
And it also lasts for 6 seconds longer for the Doom. So if you get that, you win the fight pretty much every time, I feel like. And the fact that it disables the coup de grace as well, actually. So you, even right-clicking, like typically if you're one of these heroes that gets Doom, you can still right-click to some degree, but PA is literally useless now. That's a really good pickup.
The interesting thing about this Aghanim Scepter that 23 got is if he gets jumped by Doom, he's got that little bit of fade time where he can disjoint as Doom is casting it, and then he can blink away. So instead of going for something along the lines of a Lincoln Sphere, he's trusting that, oh, speaking of the Doom, No vision.
Oh, did they even see Nightfall?
They briefly saw him.
Okay.
But it's a cool concept to
Yeah,
kind
so
of trust in
basically,
Cuckoo.
Blur has a much lower cooldown. You can instantly cast it. It'll give you a basic Dispel, but of course you can't use it when silenced.
0.5 seconds of Vanish, which is enough to cast the Phantom Strike away and enough for Cuckoo to also put the Lotus Orb on.
And then kind of the, well, I was going to say coup de grace, but that wouldn't really make sense. Oh, we're going to have to hold on to that thought here. As Gil connect on the Nightfall, has to pop his BKB pretty early. Ooh, Lotus Orb. He pumped the Doom, but there's the Winter's Curse. GPK is beating the absolute crap again out of him. There's the Global Science to follow. Nightfall can't get off his Doom in time. Ends up dropping, but there's the RP. It's only going to connect on to one, though. It's Kingslayer getting chased by 23 Savage, who now wants to focus on GPK with a Spirit Vessel applied right now. Arctic Burn as well, so no refraction for you. GPK gets Yules right outside his base. And it looks like he's going to be brought down in the end. Triple kill for 23 Savage. He has entered beast mode. I mean, they played that against the Doom perfectly well. GG is called. Wow. Awesome game.
T1 is looking mega scary, dude.
Both teams.
Yeah. It's crazy to see on one side the team fight execution. I've just never seen two teams team fight like this before.
Yeah. It feels like it's scattered to a degree, but kind of on purpose. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, well,
they're having their own separate fights sometimes, but yeah,
I don't remember who it was
masterful.
during the major, but they described it like kind of a dance that's happening where you have the,
a do-si-do?
Yeah, certain people going in that they're trying to bait spells on. You have the supports in the back line playing around vision on the high ground that can save. People kind of rotating in and out based on who has the defensive abilities up. And how many times are we going to see T1 win fights like 4v8? I feel like that's every game with them.
You know, usually when there's like a big standoff, it gets boring. That Roche standoff was so
That was
entertaining.
sick.
That was like
good.
almost 10 minutes, I feel like, of just this very tense feeling. You know, that was... Yeah, I'd have to look at the replay again, but luckily we don't have to look at the replay because our analysts are still here. Let's go over to them and see what they have to say.
That's right, I've memorized the entirety of the game. I will draw you each picture frame by frame, or we can maybe just save that for Purge after the break. But I hope you enjoyed game number one. It's always a blowout whenever VP and T1 go against each other, as we saw last time they met. Let's see what happens in game number two after the break.
My name is Jordan Gilbert, aka Nothing.
Hi, my name is Sue Lee. My handle is Smix. I think it's important for these initiatives to happen. Empathy really, really goes a long way, and it always means so much to us, and I think that's where initiatives like this really help.
I encourage everyone in the community, anytime they see bullying, anytime they see someone getting called names, I encourage you to step up and say something.
Good luck, have fun.
Good luck, have fun.
Can I get a refresh? 'Cause I wanna feel new, don't want any regret. I'm just thinking about the future, caught in a deep. Now everything's gonna be alright. I own the future, gotta hold it tight. Now everything's gonna be alright. Gotta make it happen, dance through the night. Give me something new. Give me something new.
tension, the drama all around Roshan. Everyone wants Roshan, second Roshan, to get nerfed. I like this. I like how much intensity is brought to a game when there are these fights surrounding the pit.
Just the TA using the Cyberblades on the Venom Wards, yeah, like this game was phenomenal. That both teams very disciplined, slow entry to the game, but then around about 22 minutes, they started clashing heads at the Roshan pit. And I think this is where kind of T1 proved their brilliance in their ability to continue finding farm in a map when it's so heavily around like a single objective. Like 23 Savage, he wants to win this tournament. He's finishing 11-1. At like the 22-minute highlight, he's jumping into the pit, so he's out of vision, jumping back into the fight, like 500 HP. It was an incredible game around just Roshan, simply put.
Yeah, I really like how 23 Savage in particular, he's not itemizing defensively against the Doom. I think we saw maybe in the Quincy Crew series where they were getting like a lot of Lincolns, and you know, I think it was Cuckoo in that game. Maybe it was Carl. Anyways, one of them, they picked up the Psychic Headband. They're just popping the Lincolns and dooming them. In this game, 23 Savage, he's opting to be aggressive. You know, he gets to egg him. He's basically saying he's going to outplay the Doom. We saw a couple of times where he tried to get Doom, but he uses a blur, buys time to get Lotus Orbed. And, I mean, there's only one Doom for that Roshan fight for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I think the key thing is, like, VP, they tried to enter this game with a new take on how to deal with heroes like Wyvern and Magnus. They have the Silencer. But then you see these kind of highlights. They're killing off the Magnus with the Global and the Doom. The Doom to kill the Mag, and then the Global to cover from that retreat and the kind of the supporting factor. But I think T1 played around that exceptionally well because they didn't look for any fights like pre-20 minutes where these spells would be dominant. And then in the key fights, they were sacrificing heroes and playing around that outpost. Like this 20 to 30 minute point in the game, it's just them parking themselves next to their dire outpost. It can't be contested because tier 2s are still alive. And then Wyvern, he tanks a gank, comes back in. Mag dies to Doom Silencer, they wait, they reset. You know, a minute later when he respawns, back into the fight. So I think T1, they just read VP like a book, and then methodically, 23 Savage found the necessary farm to just slaughter them.
And a lot of that happened from the beginning of the laning phase. Earlier in the series, VP versus T1, Purge talked to you about how T1 was able to shut down the VP Enchantress. Well, what happens in the other direction with Purge?
Thanks, guys. Yeah, Enchantress still an amazing hero. Save the Enchantress specialist, so let's see how he reacts to it. The Kunkka lane, dual lane is pretty effective. They hit the range creep a couple times. He gets a little splash in, sometimes some harass, sometimes multiple last hits, which is pretty good for the laning stage. And then he moves over and body blocks the large camp. No spawns for Enchantress, so she's going to have to play normal stuff, which looks great. And, oops, okay, we're good. Next go. There we go. Then they move over and do the same thing, hit the range creep a little bit, and they go for another Tidebringer splash, hitting two heroes. They get Whitemon pretty low here, go for the Torrent. He ends up dodging that, reading their minds, and heals back up to full. But Save, feeling blood in the water, wants to go for another kill here, so he sticks around looking to pressure. They get another great Tidebringer splash in, and Save is poking them once again, but it's about time to go block again. But in the same vein, he could also get a kill, so here he goes for a stun on Whitemon. They go for the Torrent follow-up. Whitemon dodges it again, and things look okay here, but then Whitemon turns and they pick up Save. And because he dies, the large camp ends up spawning instead. He was planning to block that, but he got busy. He got killed. Sentry gets dewarded as well. So when they end up respawning, what happens is basically Whitemon waits until he hits level 3. Also, he goes for a deward, but it gets also dewarded by Whitemon, so that doesn't even accomplish anything. He's gonna have to sit around and body block this again. Whitemon just consistently one step ahead, and once Whitemon hits level 3, what he does, he moves over to the neutral camp finally. Knowing that this might not come back, this now is gonna last twice as long, 60 seconds, and has a bonus 2 armor and bonus 20 damage. And now watch what he does. Because of these mistakes that began earlier, it's cascading into this problem where now he is solo zoning 2 heroes by himself, and he almost kills Save. This Wildkin has 11 armor, I believe. At this, look how much damage it's taking. It is insane. He almost kills Save. Save salves up. He goes to check the ward and watches DM moved a little bit to this way to go back to lane, but then they say, oh crap, guys, block the camp. He moves over, the dagger slows him, and the next camp ends up respawning. So what's going to happen again? Whitemon's going to take another creep. He's going to spawn some skellies, and he's going to again zone these 2 heroes. This is why DM got so far behind in this laning stage. That first step on Save that led to the camp being spawned and using that to zone 2 heroes. This leads to DM getting killed by these 2 guys after line dies once again trying to block a camp. He goes down, just a massive gold advantage, all because of these cascading mistakes in the laning stage. And that is why Enchantress is such a valued hero on the pro scene, despite it being garbage in pubs.
All right, that seems a bit dramatic. I've found some success, maybe not with sick plays like that. Normally, if I find my camp is blocked, I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm just going Nature's Attendance now in Impetus. I don't need to worry about the enchant, but Whitemon had the contingency plans. If things aren't going to work out, I'll wait until level 3, I'll wait until level 2 enchant. Life's good. And now we talked about how VP might not find success with their Enchantress. Now maybe you need to consider banning out the enemy Enchantress. Maybe your Kunkka's not going to find it as much success. Maybe Silencer still is not a very good hero. At least that's what it seemed like in game number 1. Will they go back for it in game number 2? Probably not, but we're going to have to go to a break before we can find that out.
Stay in line, stay in line, I heard. All my life I would. Now I'm looking for the borderlines. No one's gonna stop me tonight. I'm feeling right this time. You can try to catch me, you can try to catch me. I'm feeling good this time. And you can try to catch me, you can try to catch me. And you can try to catch me, you can try to catch me.
Welcome back, everybody, to game number 2 of VP versus T1. And I may already have some hot takes for you, some assumptions on things that may be happening. What would you say if Lina were to be first phase picked?
I think it would be what these two teams might be doing. You know,
Interesting,
they're already surprising us.
How would you feel if Viper were to be first phase picked?
How would we feel if we outed you for cheating, Mr. Host?
I would tell you that I am very good at checking my emails, and there is no such accusation that would have a basis. Oh my gosh. Would you look at that? Winter Wyvern and Lina first phased for Virtus.pro. T1 pick up the Viper and the Abaddon. Bans out Ancient Apparition, Timbersaw, Terrorblade, and Phantom Lancer. VP ban out the DK, Doom, Luna, and Puck.
Yep, as expected, the fact that we have Viper go through this time VP, they give it up because they are not first pick, they are banning the Doom themselves. Entering the second phase, they take away the Enchantress. If we look a little bit more towards the openings, I think Abaddon Viper, I think VP have already run this once before in the tournament, but it is very potent to deal with because I think Viper going between mid and off lane, the Skadi, the Dragonlance, I like that style of build. Don't do this ATOS stuff anymore. Don't try and become a hero that you're not. Don't try and lock down heroes. Just be a turret that just chips and chips and chips.
Yeah, VP, they sort of baited out this first pick Viper, though. They had a plan ready for it.
Exactly, yeah.
At least with the Lina. I don't know if Wyvern's supposed to be good with Viper. Maybe he is, because Wyvern just seems to heal versus everything. But yeah, they seem to have swapped support duos. VP just saw that Wyvern Enchantress winning T1 the game last time.
Wait, so
take it.
Expand on why is Lina a good response to Viper?
Lina's very good in lane versus Viper, so you'll win that lane. And I think in the game, Viper's the type of hero where it's hard for you to deal with mixed types of damages. You can't itemize for all of that, plus get BKB. And Lina's just a really high damage hero, so you can just kill that Viper. The Corrosive skin doesn't do much to Lina's Fiery Soul.
Okay, but with the support duo of already being Enchantress and Winter Wyvern, what's stopping T1 from turning this into an offlane Cuckoo Viper?
I think I was going to say that should kind of be the avenue that might look to go down. But also because you have the Enchantress maybe laning into that as well, we just saw the effectiveness of the creep bodying these offlaners. That's the same principle. You now have a Lina to deal with Viper mid and Enchantress to deal with Viper offlane.
Yeah, one of the best ways to deal with these flexible picks is you just make one lane where they can't go in.
Yeah.
If they go into this lane, then you're at a draft advantage. If they flex into the other lane, then it's a lot easier to draft against.
Yeah, VP, they need to have this big offlane presence now. Realistically, they might not want to go Tide because of the Viper, but they need some like Tide-esque hero who will kind of just happily stand in front and allow these three ranged heroes to play behind.
And sounds to me like a Centaur has been picked up by VP to be their offlaner. And they've banned out a few of the heroes that would be tough to deal with. They banned out the Monkey King. Ursa is still available in the pool, although 23 Savage has not been playing it too much.
Yeah, it's pretty good Centaur, and the idea of there's one stun right now for T1, right? It's like the Earth Spike. Sure, a Hex as well, but if you get that Stampede, you're going to be able to run away even if you're Hexed. And I think that alone is going to be pretty helpful, and why VP picked it with such confidence. Unlike these other heroes, like we haven't really seen Centaur at the major, but this is kind of one of those times where no lockdown, you can somewhat be enabled.
I still find it wild how far Mars fell off the face of the earth from the Animajor to this tournament, and how Centaur has just overtaken him in popularity. These offlaners, they go through fads, it seems.
Yeah, it's basically how all pro teams work, right? Like if you ever listen to the captains and it's like, why'd you pick this hero? Sometimes it is just a single player coming to the boot camp or coming to the pre-scrim chat or whatever going, I just want to play this hero today. It's like, why? It's like, I just think it's good.
Yeah. And their response for 23 Savage in this Centaur lane is going to be Wraith King.
I think the key read for this is when you have double heals, it's about prolonging fights and kind of just the chip damage that you have, or kind of at least enabling cores to continuously do chip damage. And Wraith King is one of those heroes that thrive in these engagements because, you know, Ench and Wyvern aren't going to be the ones killing off the Wraith King, nor is a Centaur. There's a lot of enabling heroes on VP, but no one who decisively can kill a hero 100-0, and especially twice in a row. And that's why I think T1 did go for this Wraith King in the end.
Yeah, I think Wraith King's a strong hero when you can identify that the enemy team doesn't have the ability to kill you without using a lot of resources,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
If they can trade out the Stampede, all of a sudden their Viper and Lion can have a lot more impact into their disables once Stampede is done. You trade Stampede for a Wraith King ulti, I think T1 are very happy with that.
What is the mid-Lina build you like these days, Curtis?
I like the ones where they go into right click. So
like the AC style of build?
Well, they usually go like, what do they usually go? Like Travels, Yos, BKB, Daedalus.
Yeah.
Okay, yep.
And so the reason I asked that is because you'd think that typically Lina, okay, I blow Laguna Blade on Wraith King's first life, then how am I going to kill him a second time? I've seen core Lina deal a ton of right-click damage in a short period of time.
That is true for sure. If she can get to the point where she gets to get one big damage in him, this hero does insane amounts of damage. I think she has really high int gain, and Fiery Soul's, I mean, it's plus like 300 attack speed.
This could be for VP. Like, they do have last pick in the draft, so talking about their carries somewhat underwhelming, but I still think they could be gravitating towards like maybe a Jug or even a rare one like a Weaver. Just because you have the lack of stuns and the laning phase, you're going to be able to quickly run over your opponent and maybe invade that jungle quite cleanly. But anyway, T1 have the final pick in the first pick, sorry, in the draft. So let's maybe look towards that.
I would like to see VP go for a more early game focused lineup than they have in the past.
Exactly.
I think when they beat T1, they were outplaying them in the early game, and T1 was winning games by sort of outplaying VP in the mid to late game. You sort of had that dynamic. If you go into the mid game sort of a little bit ahead on VP, I think the game becomes even because T1s are a bit better at that. And then, I mean, VP, it's not like they're slouches in the mid-late game. They can definitely hold their own, but I don't know. T1s look phenomenal in this tournament.
Yeah, this ban from T1, the lifesteal, it does indicate that the Viper will just most likely be off lane, because I feel like you want to take away these heroes that have their own sustainability in lane. Same thing with kind of like the Morphling. And I think right now T1 are kind of offering VP this Juggernaut as like the obvious pick, but like this is going to sound a bit left field, but even like a like a cheeky little Lycan. Let's bring that bad boy. VP just picked Silencer. Why not go for Lycan? Owie's eyes just popped. Was like, no, what is he saying? Stop talking.
They might go Lycan.
I think it looks pretty good right now, right?
Yeah, I think that hero is really bad.
Yeah, I agree, but
I'm not sure. I saw in the C DPC that who is it? Logun beat TNC with Lycan safe lane and Pudge line off lane. So it's Dota. Anything can work.
There we go. That's what I like.
Apparently, Pudge line can beat Troll Enchantress safe lane.
And T1 need to pick up probably their mid laner, or it could be off laner. Something was picked. What is it going to be? It's
Magnus. Okay, sure. It worked wonders in the first game. It's going to be able to do it again, but this time, the way in which Magnus is played is through Abaddon is kind of running in, Wraith King's running in, they're happily soaking up all the damage, and then suddenly Magnus will connect with that big RP because of how easy the vision is obtained in these fights.
It also makes it a little bit harder for VP to do their last pick. You can still lane Viper into Lina. It's not like some super unplayable matchup, it's just Lina does better than most, so now they can sort of flex it between offlane and mid with Magnus and Viper.
And these semi-carries that we've been mentioning, be it like the meme Lycan or the Weaver or whatever, you don't really want to pick them into a Mag plus Wraith King style lineup because it will accelerate his farm too quickly that your timing to win the game with a skirmishing style carry is it's like so hard to play in that window.
Yeah, originally I was thinking Juggernaut for sure for VP, but I think Magnus fares pretty well versus that hero. Can skewer out. The Luna's already banned, which was the other hero I thought would go pretty well for them. There's a lot of carries banned. I'm not too sure what Nightfall is looking at right now.
Oh, they just go for the Juggernaut, sure.
Oh, they go for it anyways.
Yeah,
okay.
fair.
So why'd you say that Jug is good against? I mean, Mag is good against Jug.
Well, I mean, you can skewer out of the spin in lane, so you don't have much kill threat, and you can RP through his BKB. Yeah. On the other hand, though, you can do pretty well in lane on Jug. You just have low BAT and a crit, so you can just hit him a lot.
The main thing here
from so
VP,
it's Viper offlane.
Yeah, it's Viper offlane. That's the main thing, right? They picked the Jug because they needed a carry to play into this offlane Viper. They needed a way to sustain through that damage. Healing Ward is very strong, of course, the spin. And Virtus.pro this time, they're not going to try and play a game where they happily farm for 15-20 minutes and then spend like 8 minutes at Roshan. This is a completely different style where they're going to try to play their laning phase, connect with an early active Lina, a strong laning phase of Jug, and then try and take the fight to T1.
I'd like to see them bring Winter Wyvern to their safe lane pretty early. They're laning Enchantress, or whoever the second support is. Because I think Viper should be free kills. Any Enchantress creep that gives you anything to cancel TPs, Viper will die to a spin and Arctic Burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I mean, like, this is less off the wall than game number 1, just because there's no silencer, and so I'm already more encouraged by VP. But I will say that first phase Lina, it seems very, very specific to this whole Viper thing.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
The main thing is T1 didn't change their style coming into the second game. They're keeping the same kind of philosophy. It's Virtus.pro. They lost game 1. They've adapted. They got a little bit more, punch, a little bit more fight. There we go. And then they're going to try and take it to their opponent.
Let's see if it works out. Let's pass it over to our casters, Suns fan and hostage situation.
What is this? What are you guys doing? Oh, the squirt action is in. And finally, I have a professional next to me. Not some disgusting filth that some people call Jenkins without pronouncing the J. Lacoste!
Yeah, I just want to secure my TI spot.
Oh, okay.
I do not want him to cast all the games.
That's a good plan. But you're sitting next to me, which I feel like counteracts that plan to some degree. But, well, good effort. Good effort overall. As you get situated, we're going to talk about this game. VP versus T1, game 2 of this best of 5 grand finals. T1, of course, with that game 1 victory. Both teams looking really sharp. as this smoke is going to be broken up to a degree by Carl here, who's getting pinged now. What are your thoughts on this lineup from both respective sides, Mr. Lacoste?
I feel like the story of these two teams throughout this whole tournament has been how to either counter Enchantress or how to get the most out of the Enchantress in the laning stage. So I want to see how many sentries Enchantress is going to buy to be able to get the big creep and do something in the lane. This is a position 4 Enchantress this time around. Wyvern will be played as Kingslayer, so that means 5. But talking about the drafts in general, whenever I see Lion, it always just feels good to have him. They also pick Juggernaut into BKB piercing ability, which is mag. And also you have Viper on top of it. It doesn't stop him from TPing, but still goes through magic immunity.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of these. I mean, talked about this last game, but Wyvern is basically picked every single game, as we've seen, and teams are starting to adjust a bit. You have Viper Strike for it, along with Nether Toxin. You have the burst damage from Lion as well. So, and of course, you can skewer the very stationary targets. So teams are really ready for this Wyvern. Do you think it's still areas where the cold embrace is just ridiculous?
Tools to deal damage through the heal. It's like you.
So do you think they have enough tools this time around?
Lion with Viper is okay-ish, nothing spectacular. I guess my top 3 would be Invoker, Spirit Vessel.
Okay.
Ton of damage coming out from him. Either that, maybe Timbersaw. Maybe
Okay.
Timbersaw is the top 1 for me. And then I think Sanking is a pretty damn good one.
Oh, all right. Can we get all 3 of those in the same lineup one of these days? That'd be great. Just terrific. But yeah, still some burst at least on their side as T1 getting things kicked off here in the top lane. DM getting pressured a bit on this Centaur War Runner as Whitemond's going to take the brunt of the damage from this Arctic Burn from Kingslayer. But let's talk about this mid lane. This is always the most interesting lane in general. It's going to be GPK on the Lina versus Carl's Magnus, as the LSA is actually going to miss here.
Carl doing a much better job than I expected. Like, first couple of waves might be a bit rough with the Magnus. You're playing into Lina, so there's always going to be that harassment coming out from the just either right clicks or LSA. You get close, top lane.
That is first blood. Down goes DM. So T1 off to a good start in this lane. Of course, they have the double stun potential here with the Wraith King and the Lion. Overall, pretty strong lane in general. And we actually saw, I forget who it was that maxed out Wraith Fire Blast. I forget.
Yeah, there was a one
purpose
game.
for that
I don't
was.
also remember which one was it, but this was like a fighting Wraith King. I believe there was reason why, because they had Agility Hero on a mid lane that also scales, so you just wanted to be able to buy a bit more time, fight early on with the team. This time around, no shenanigans, Vampiric Spirit, 2 points in it, going into Armlet, which I really like, because it's a guaranteed crit off your Armlet with the Mortal Strike.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, we've been seeing basically the same build, Armlet into Radiance most of the time. Radiance, or Armlet allows you to just fight right away, and then Radiance kind of secures the game in a lot of these times where you just snowball as the Wraith King.
Against Alliance, he decided to go for a different item build, just Armlet into Blink Dagger, because they needed to execute the combo better. They had the Grimstrokes, a double stun, double doom. Made a lot of sense in just being able to jump the backlines.
Yeah, we have Mr. Juggernaut himself, Nightfall. This is not a hero we get to see that often anymore, despite most people saying he's still good. But why don't we see this hero more often?
There's so many BKB piercing abilities, and since Wyvern gained a lot of popularity, it's just, I'm not going to say unplayable, but it's really tough. There's always going to be a threat killing your own teammates. Heal, you can't use Omni Slash on top of it, and it feels like Juggernaut just needs a steroid at the moment, needs to be paired up with the Magnus, which is something that Alliance did very effectively in one of their games. Lina, 19 against 17 on the mid lane. GPK putting a ton of pressure on Mag.
Yeah, Carl has to skewer out. And basically the CS is close to being even. Not a huge advantage either side, but
Juggernaut just using a spin casually to show which
Dominant.
abilities he has. Very nice.
You got to make sure it works for sure. He actually has a Battle Fury queued up, so this is an item that feels like you can't buy these days, or at least players are not buying them.
For a
think about
reason,
this
it's
game?
just too slow, especially if Raid King gets armed with possibly like a broadsword, maybe a claymore, or just a ring. You actually don't do much compared to the Raid King, who could potentially just have 2 lives. You can't burst him. There's just not enough damage early on.
Ooh, that is a big courier card. That's a Ring of Health for DM, so obviously the Vanguard is what he's going for. Is they're going to get the Earth Spike in the top lane, but don't think they're going to be able to find a kill as Kingslayer or 23 Savage. But yeah, I mean, depending on which is better, into Shard, Blade Fury gives you the extra move speed, gives you more options later in the game. Then into attack speed, into like an Aghanim Scepter or something like that. We'll see what he does with that if he actually continues to build into it.
Might change his mind. If he buys a full ring, then he's committed. Like,
Yeah.
you can't turn that ring into anything, so it's just gonna TP out.
Oh,
Fake TP.
Oh, all
That's
right,
a big one if
cancel
they
it.
get a kill here.
Yeah, Blade Fury with the impetus damage. He pops the Fairy Fire. This is going to be pretty close. Nightfall taking a lot of damage from the tower, puts down the healing ward in turn. Both players are actually going to live. I think Cuckoo was TPing the base. I think it might have been one of those fake outs where he was hoping that they would just back off and let him go.
Might
Probably
actually
still right.
backfire. If you need to walk back from the base while they killed you and you use 100 gold
Yeah.
PP, that's
True.
pretty big. I love the Cuckoo. I think AUI talked about him as being the best Viper throughout the major. Not going for Road of 8.
Kingslayer's even come to help out as well. Zephyr playing the Abaddon this time around.
This is a
Feel
dead
like a
tower.
Zephyr hero.
They definitely didn't need a Kingslayer there, but he's there just to be able to secure it. GPK gets the last hit with your Arcane Rune. He can just keep spamming the spell. Low cooldown, low mana cost.
Yeah, and that is a 6.5 minute tier 1 mid as a Lina. Not too shabby. Obviously, the Enchantress helping out quite a bit. As you can see, the average time is just over 10 minutes. And the 541. Have we not really had a level 1 tower taken out of the comp?
We had that during NA, DPC
Yeah.
Season 2, and then a Chinese team tried to copy it. They killed it super fast, lost the game in 12 minutes. I believe it was Sparking Arrow Gaming.
Yeah, something like that. As Cuckoo getting spotted out, the Blade Fury with the impetus damage on the side. So Nightfall finally getting the kill that he feels like he deserved not too long ago. And he is doing okay. I mean, 2,700 net worth versus the 3,600. Basically 1,000 net worth difference here between him and 23 Savage. So.
23 Savage kind of reminds me of Hector when he was playing TI9. Like, he was super efficient with the farming. That's how efficient 23 Savage is this particular tournament, Season 2 and Animator.
Yeah, we hear the Stampede, so it looks like it's just for the retreat here for DM. As Cuckoo's still not level 6 yet, so you can see that there is a 1k net worth lead for VP, which is kind of crazy considering the lead that 23 Savage has. And there's no, like, gold amplifiers. I mean, he's farming pretty fast, obviously, but there's no Doom. Obviously no Alchemist, because it's not picked anymore. Great hero, by the way. Hope that we get to see that in this finals.
Yeah, can't wait until someone... Like, if there's going to be Game 5, one team is just, you know what? We're bringing that Alchemist. We've even seen in the first game, Silencer.
Right.
Oh, that was not picked at all during the major.
And I think
for
we
a
saw
reason.
why. As the Centaur Stomp will be there. Hoof Stomp's going to be canceled, but Laguna Blade finishes off Cuckoo. Is now Whitemon trying to juke his way around the trees. They did get some vision. LSA's not going to connect, though. Nightfall in the vicinity. Nice Earth Spike there. He actually pops a Fairy Fire as well, because the impetus wasn't quite enough damage, but...
Can he juke this?
No, there's...
I don't think so.
Let's make a bet.
There's a way. Wait a minute.
Wait a second. The spin. Yeah, he finally. I mean, a lot of space created that took an extra 20 seconds.
Still not enough.
I was gonna bet something on Jenkins' behalf, but I chose not to because he's had a rough time so far. Because he did.
He
just
really
duel
did.
him.
He had to work through this whole event with us, so we gotta take it easy on him. Problem is, DM, I don't think he's killable at the moment. Just sitting with the Vanguard, a Magic Stick. We even see Kingslayer using a heal to bring it back to full HP. They need to have a finger, which is not gonna be online for quite some time. Lion, only level 4 at the moment.
Yeah, he's gonna have to walk. White Mon level 4. He has that smoke available to use whenever he wants. 2-1-1 build right now. Is Zephyr playing the Abaddon? I know he's played this before, but it doesn't feel like a Zephyr hero.
There was one game during the major when he played Abba position 4. I believe he managed to get a mech, even a Solar Crest, just tank it up. But this time around, Lion will need to be like the playmaking 4. Kuko will drop one more time.
He gets the Viper Strike out, but knowing he was dead anyway, GPK just going to get healed, so most of the damage will be mitigated in the end.
Big timing for them is going to be a Blink Dagger on Magnus, because right now they don't have any way to start a fight. And also Armlet on Raid King, which just got finished, farming up the Ancient Camp, which usually you can't do with Raid King unless you have Empower, which just ran off, so he will need some assistance from Carl.
He gets slow from the Enchant, gets the Earth Spike off as the rotation from Cuckoo's here, but they just don't have anything to be able to kill Nightfall, at least not yet. You talked about the RP potential that will go through the Blade Fury, and I mean, other than that, they don't really have that spend CP, worst case scenario for him. But yeah, Blink Daggers will be huge. We can talk about the other Blink Dagger, of course, from DM. He is about 800 away from finishing that. So, and the fact that Carl's actually going for Blink before Echo Saber, what are your thoughts on that? Do you like that this game around? Because a lot of times we do see the Echo Saber first to allow you to just amplify your farm a little bit more.
In this game, I think he understands that his job is like not to carry the game. Raid King will be in charge of that, and also Cuckoo's itemization. He goes for a different one. It's not Rod of Aethos anymore. It's Dragon Scale into BKB, into Scotty, something that he's done. So having an initiator, they understand that they need to fight right now. So when they get a Blink Dagger on Mag, they will smoke and try to go for a kill. White one, he's also level 6, so a lot of burst potential. Where is the smoke? There is one online right now, so...
Yeah, now that he has his level 6, they can definitely burst somebody down. His save is actually in the air.